Sunday, the 20th of June. In the blue corner, weighing in at £300, the mighty, the chiselled, the heavyweight champion, superhuman, powerful warrior from Gath, it's Goliath! And in the red corner, the younger pretender, not even featherweight, the unknown. He is of beautiful appearance, the shepherd boy of Bethlehem, it's David! I hope you know the stories about David and Goliath. Let's hear Elizabeth play our hymn for today.
Who would true valour see?
Once again this week, instead of giving you the actual Bible story from the Bible, I've asked Bob if he would do a monologue, and he's taken on the character of Jude. And Jude is a rather cynical character who seems to be part of the church for what he can get out of it, rather than what he puts into it. Let's hear Bob playing the part of Jude.
My name is Jude. Let me tell you this, the fight was rigged. David couldn't lose. If David is God's champion, then what chance did big Goliath have? I'll tell you that Goliath had nae chance. Goliath was a bit of a freak of nature, bigger, broader and larger than anyone else in the world. If the Guinness Book of World Records had been a book, he'd have been right in there as the world's biggest man. Mind you, there are some medical experts who think that Goliath had a medical condition called acromegaly, which is simply an overproduction of a growth hormone. This condition also leads to poor eyesight and even blindness. So Goliath probably couldn't see anything at a distance. Nor with his height and weight would Goliath have been the quickest or most nimble of individuals. Add on his layers of heavy armour all over his body, and he would have been like a tanker doing a turn at sea. Immobile, inert, cumbersome, unable to react to any quick assault. David, on the other hand, he knew that he was fitter, faster and quicker than his opponent. His weapon of choice was no children's catapult, but a slingshot that he used every day. He was a practised, first-class marksman. All he would need was one quick shot at the right angle and at the right time, and Goliath would be a goner. This was not a square go, not a fair fight. It was a massacre. David could only lose the fight if he was stupid enough to get too close, where with one punch Goliath could annihilate him. As long as wee David kept his distance and danced around, Goliath would never land a hit, nor would he be able to see the stone coming towards him. In some cases, size does not matter. The Israelites just needed to show some guile and have a different strategy, like avoiding a square go and using techniques honed and practiced in their daily life, and then trusting that God was with them, which of course God was. Unexpected? The victory wasn't. David took his chance and he manoeuvred into the position that God wanted him to be. Not everything in the Bible needs to be a miracle for God to be at work.
So David was really good with, of course, his slingshot, his catapult, whatever you want to call it. So I have picked up 5 stones. So I have 5 stones here. I don't know if you can see them. And what am I good at? Here are 5 things. So the first one, I would say that I'm pretty good at dancing. Tap dancing and of course Scottish country dancing, because I trained in both of them. So that's my first stone. That's, I would say, I'm good at. Wouldn't be good with a slingshot, but good at that. So dancing, tap and Scottish country. My second one here, I thought, what am I good at? I thought I'm quite creative. I'm creative in different ways for doing missional work. I'm creative for coming up with new ideas, for fundraising as well. And yeah, and of course I write with our Spill the Beans team, writing for a creative magazine for other churches to use if they wish to. I'd say my third one is working alongside and with adults and children. I feel I'm good at that. I can work alongside any age group really, and I get a great joy out of it. I think I'm good at teamwork within that group also, depending on who or what it is we're doing. So I would say I was good at that. So working with and alongside others. My fourth one is, I would say I'm pretty good at organising things. I like an organised life. I like an organised house. I like an organised church. I like organising things on holiday. I tend not to go free flow. That's probably not what I prefer to do, but I know I'm good at organising and structuring things, so events, whatever it may be. So number 4, organisation. And the last one, I would say that I am good at listening. Okay, I'm good at listening to others and hearing what they're saying and trying my very best to understand it also. So listening, but also hearing. The other thing that I would say that I'm good at, I really should have 6 stones rather than the 5, but 6 is I'm good about talking about God and what God does for my life, what it does for other people's lives, what it can do for you, about finding out about who God is, and just the basics of faith. And yeah, I would say that's another thing that I was probably pretty good at. So that's me playing the part of David and what I'm good at. He was good with the slingshot. What are our Goliaths today? Because there is Goliaths out there, and it doesn't have to be a person, but what are the Goliaths of today? Well, during the pandemic, what Goliaths have we as individuals and also as a community faced? Because there was loads. Right back at the beginning, there was the food shortages, wasn't there? When they emptied the shelves of certain food types. We couldn't get pasta for love nor money. You couldn't get flour for love nor money. And then toilet rolls, for goodness sake. I mean, really? There must still be people with toilet rolls in their cupboards, the amount that were sold. So that's just very basic things of the Goliath. Then the big things started to affect, like isolation, mental health, illness through COVID itself, deaths, bereavement, grief. So these were all big Goliaths. And also finance, because some people lost their jobs. Others were, okay, furloughed at home, but maybe only getting 80% of their salaries. And that can make or break people, because people depend on their salaries coming in. So that's just a very few of the Goliaths that some people would have faced during this pandemic. And what Goliaths might we have to face in the months to come as individuals and especially as a faith community? Well, as individuals, I'm certainly at the stage where I believe we need to now live with coronavirus. It would be great to get quite a lot more vaccinated. That would be wonderful, the younger age group, because it is affecting them more. But we now have to get out and about and live with this virus. It's never going to go away, I don't think. And I hope and pray that we can just do what we can. Still continue with our face masks and washing our hands and trying to keep a decent distance from a lot of people. But we need to go on and live with this virus. And I think that's one of the big Goliaths that we're going to face in the months ahead. And as a faith community, again, I'm concerned. One of the Goliaths that I think we face is that a number of people, not just in my church, but in the national church, won't come back to church because they've got out the habit of going to church. Or over this last year and a quarter, they have aged. Their mobility is not as good. They're feeling older. They don't have as much energy. There's a whole host of reasons going in there. But that is another Goliath that we face as a church. And as a faith community, well, how can we do God's missional work if we don't have our people there to do it, but also we don't have the money to do it? Again, people have been dying over this last year and a quarter, and the income from the church has gone down. But we need money to function, to do missional work also. Very little is done at the cost of nothing. So manpower and money, that's another big thing which will affect our faith community, because as a church, we can't do that missional work and put our faith into action without the money and the people behind it also. So that's just a couple of the things that I have come up with. And I wonder, what else can you come up with? And then we'll need to look at that and see what we can do. We're now going to hear Susan. And Susan is going to lead us in our reflection. And then she's going to lead us in our prayer. And then I'm going to come in right at the very end with the blessing.
Today's reflection is, what can we do? What can I do? What can you do? What can they do? What can we do? Against these odds, in a world of pain, of hunger, of hopelessness, of apathy, of fear, of ignorance, of oppression, of suppression, of ostracisation. In this place where children go hungry, where fear rules lives, where disease tears through societies, and where darkness can extinguish the light. What can I do? What can you do? What can they do? What can we do? With God I can. With God you can. With God they can. And with God we can. And now let us draw closer to God in our prayer. Loving God, we join together today in love and in joy, wherever we are, whoever we are with, praying for your guidance and hoping for joy. In this changing world, where it is hard to be sure of what to do or how to live our lives, we give thanks for your constant presence, for being with us in the good times and the bad. As we look forward to the week ahead, help us to learn from our elders, but also to have confidence in our own ideas, in ourselves, and in our capacity to learn and to grow, to bring good to this world and to honour everything you have given to us. Amen.
Whatever your strong points are and the things that you are good at, keep doing them and do them in the name of God. And whatever those Goliaths are that are out there, those challenges that you are facing, just take them to God in prayer and speak to other people about it also, because you just never know if that's one of their Goliaths too. And sometimes when something is shared, it makes it easier all round. God bless everyone.